Realtor, and today we're going to be recording a two-part video about leasing versus buying in Panama and what expats need to know before they actually do that. So I'm here with Panamanian, bilingual Realtor, Valentino Wood. All right, now he is my Realtor, and I was referred to him maybe 3 or 4 times before I actually chose him. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about why I chose him. But first off, what I want to do is just ask you, how did you get to work, actually become a Realtor and start working with expats? What made you want to work with expats and you know, finally start?
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me
You're welcome.
on your channel. So basically, I became a Realtor in 2018. I was already doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads and things like that, and already developing other type of businesses. When a Realtor, approached me and wanted help with marketing, and in a trade-off, I also got to learn a little bit about the real estate business. And I just started as doing something extra, something in the meantime, and really found a passion for it. I started working with Panamanians here in Panama, working mostly sales, new properties, new developments. And as time went on, I started to open out to new and bigger and better things. When I found my passion is when I really took it seriously. I got my own license, started my own company. And my passion in real estate has been, I think the beautiful part for me working with expats is helping people to see what Panama has to offer for a first time. I love, that first time experience. And of course, we want to make it a business where we continue to work together in the process. But that first time, so I'm not the type that I'm going to sell Panama to you, because to me, Panama sells itself.
Right.
But I am the type that I'm going to show you around and show you what Panama has to offer. Basically, just putting deals and working and connecting with people and negotiating and making sure things are a win-win situation for both parties. And, just be able to voice a little bit of my inside opinion, and of course to share this beautiful country with you guys has been an excellent experience.
Right. Well, it was a great experience, when I went through the process with you, and then also with my immigration attorney. So advise anyone that comes, try and get an immigration attorney, because they kind of mesh well with the realtors and actually having a smoother transition legally. So I do advise you to do that. Right? What should Americans or expats understand about lease agreements here as opposed to the U.S.? I mean, what should we consider?
Okay, so the actual lease agreement is very similar to the U.S. First, before that, what is not similar is that when it comes to renting here in Panama, we don't have a waiting period. Most of the properties, apartments, condos, or houses that are available are actually, people that purchased them previously, rather to live in, before they got married or had their family, or people have purchased them as an investment property. So I know that a lot of parts in the U.S., let's say for example, a building is nothing but for rental purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this place, it isn't that case. We really don't have buildings like that. So, of course, that's going to be a little bit different. So it's basically what I'm trying to say at the end is going to be what's available at the time that you go to rent. That's what's going to be available at that particular time. Whether it's within the city or within the beach areas or in the countryside, it's pretty much the same all over the country. On the actual lease agreement, what is important, I think to us to understand is that one, of course, you have to pay your first month's rent and the safety deposit in order to move in, right? To that, of course, there's going to be clauses within the actual contract that protects both the homeowner and you as the tenant, and what is going to be, clear what the homeowner, needs to do as far as repairs and things like that. And I would say three, that it's very important to work with a specialist or realtor like myself, because we're always going to make sure to mediate and make sure that things are very fair and on a legal process. It's not an obligation to work with the realtor. And also, I know most people are going to be like, well, realtors are normally only involved in sales in the U.S. Here, it's very helpful to have a realtor to show the property, because sometimes a homeowner is not going to show the property 20 to 40 times in order to get a client in. See what I'm saying? And then with the realtor, because I know we watch a lot of content, we see areas, like as a matter of fact, I'm going to give this example. My associate just called me not too long ago, a bit frustrated because a client said that he wanted a location in El Cangrejo, but he was already staying in El Cangrejo, and that wasn't the location that he wanted. He wanted something to be outside of the city, and we're talking more like Panamá Pacifico, like Las Cumbres, like Brisa del Golf, that type of things. Because I've seen a lot of clients be a bit confused. I tend to take more what they're looking for, what they want, reference to the name of the area that they think they might want.
Right, because I watched a lot of videos, and we went back and forth. I was so confused. And then so when I gave you my list, and you were okay, well, I'm gonna give her what her list says, so you were able to match the area with my list.
That's true.
Right.
One thing that is important is that for legal purposes, the contract does need to be in Spanish. So you can't expect for contracts to be in English. As a service, I do provide my clients with the English translation, so they can be able to understand and know, and we even break it down. If you have questions on a specific topic, we will debate, talk about it. If something doesn't feel right, I'll be sure to let you know and get back with the other party so we can get that corrected before proceeding forward, before any transaction actually takes place.
Right. And I was going to say, with my immigration attorney, they offer your first lease in their process, which is William and Carol González.
Yes.
They are amazing. They were referred to me quite a few times also, so I did want to shout them out. And then they have two sons that are fixers that will go to the bank and things of that nature with you. But they translated, so he translated it first, and then I just ran it through them and said, oh, you see, and they was like, oh, Valentino knows what he's talking about, or he knows what to look for. But they also validated that by going through the second process and looking at it and saying, oh yeah, everything's cool, everything's kosher. So I did like that process. So you were quite honest with, with answering my questions and covering everything for me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Right.
To hear.
All right. So the next question: What are the typical length of your lease? Are they short term, long term? And then also something I wanted to ask, like as far as the availability, like is there a difference between, because there's a rainy season here, and then there's I guess pretty much like a dry season where it doesn't rain, because I know like snowbirds and all that, it affects the time that you come here. Okay. That's something I wanted to ask before.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can say that the times has changed throughout the time.
Okay.
This year I'm experiencing a lot or much more activities dealing with rentals and purchasing. So that I've definitely seen an uprise in the amount of expats that are looking to come to Panama, which is great. I know that currently we're we're usually in the top 5 of the top places to locate or to relocate to Panama, but we're currently at number 1, so that's good.
Right.
But to answer your question, of course there has been a change because you did mention about, we call them the winter birds, the ones that the Canadians or New Yorkers that, look for places to hide out from the winter to get away from the cold. So our summer here is from January to, I would say, would be March, but you still get, a lot of good weather, April and May. Well, May is when the rainy season really kicks in, and we have rainy season between May until November. But during all those times, it would still be able to find apartments and places that are available, for you. It's just that I would say January for sure is much, much more competitive. And, it's like really a place where you're locking in apartments, ASAP. As far as the time frames, so something that is important, I think we should mention, is that due to Panamanian law, not all buildings can be able to have what's Airbnbs because it has to be a minimum by Panamanian law. The time frame when you're able to rent has to be at the least for 2 months, which Airbnb is a shorter term rental when it comes to that. But most homeowners are going to prefer a 1-year contract, okay, as a minimum. There is some situations where some might want a 2-year contract. That's really going to depend on you as a client, as that's something that you're willing to accept or not. And that is something that should be discussed up front. Now, the 1 year, that 1 year term is of legal obligation of the homeowner, right? So he can't just rent your property. Oh, you know what? I think this isn't working out. So you know what? Next month you can find another place. I got somebody else coming in. No, they can't do that. And also in your contract, you're locked in on a fixed rate. So whatever your monthly payment was agreed upon, that's what it's going to be, and it has to be during the duration of the contract.
Right, and that's one thing I like because in the States they can.
I heard that.
Right.
Also, another thing is that before your lease is up, at least 30 days in advance, both the homeowner and the tenant would agree if you would like to renew your lease or if you would not. If you don't want to renew, you should give the homeowner at the lease by law would be 30 days in advance notice that you're not interested in renewing it. And then at that time, there may be an agreement for an increase because the cost of living, goes up year after year after years, and I'm sure homeowners has expenses and bills to pay too. But only at that time. So
okay. All right. Are there any clauses? I don't want to say hidden because when you translate the lease, you explain everything.
Very transparent.
I had questions and you answered them very well, but because some things are different here and some things I didn't understand. But there are any clauses that we should look out for? Like I know some people said they've had clauses in where you got to paint the whole apartment before you move out. Are there anything you need to?
So I think that what we need to understand when it comes to this is that so it's important to understand that usually these contracts are put together by lawyers.
Okay.
However, again, we're dealing with people, and some people might change certain clauses and conditions. Again, this is another benefit of working with a lawyer or working with a realtor, because we can be able to tell you the norm and be able to let you know as somebody that's new to the country, hey, this clause is not correct. This should not be
that's
like
standard
that.
here.
Exactly.
That's not.
So, for example, I have seen that recently had a situation like that with a homeowner, and we were able to let him know, hey, no, it's different that if due to my negligence or due to whatever situation I'm responsible for, a wall got messed up and needs to be taken care of, needs to be painted over, okay, as a tenant, we need to be responsible for that.
Right.
But that's something different, that you can't just take what happened to that wall and say, oh no, now you need to paint the whole apartment.
Right.
No, that shouldn't be.
All right.
So yeah, there are situations like that. We do need to understand that. But once again, that's the perfect reason on why you should work with, and a lot of reason why we hear these horror stories sometimes for people that just, oh yeah, I found this place online and I just contacted a homeowner and sent them the money and yeah, we're good to go.
Whereas though that may not even. So what's the number you guys? I know you guys. There's a number that you check.
Yes.
To make sure that.
Yes, you're working with the licensed realtor. So yes. Every single licensed realtor in Panama does have a registration number that is provided by the government.
Right.
And you always want to check that. Also, I think what you're mentioning too is on the property.
For the homeowner.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Just make sure they're the correct homeowner, because they may be advertising someone else's apartment and the homeowner doesn't even know, but there's a.
So there can be, and there has been scams before where, let's just say a neighbor or somebody, hey, I got the keys to that apartment, or I know how I can get in, and I can act like it's up for rent and I'm the homeowner and just show it, and then just to collect the first month's and security deposit. And then when the actual homeowner shows up, they're like, wait a minute, I didn't authorize nobody to be here. And they can even have a contract, but that contract is not done by the homeowner. Each property, apartment, house, whatever, is able, and we're able to look it up in the Panama Public Registration. So only, again, one of a realtor or a lawyer would be able to have access and could be able to double check and make sure you're dealing with the right party in that.
And so, I had another question. What's unique to Panama that maybe, for one, I know one off the top of my head, unique things would be like the air conditioner. So I noticed the difference with that. Like, make sure you have split ACs so it won't cost your bill. And then I noticed another thing is that like utilities are normally included except for maybe electricity. But if it's not, it's like $20,
Yeah. So when it comes to water consumption here is going to be a standard monthly bill. It's not based on consumption. It's just based on the access that you're going to have. So in some places you'll have, like you just mentioned, some apartments or some apartment buildings, the water is included in the HOA fees, and the HOA fees are covered by the homeowner. They're not covered by the tenant. Right. You'll have seldom cases where that might be agreed upon, but in most cases that's going to be covered by the homeowner, and the homeowner pays for that. So you won't have to pay for that. In most places you're just going to have your electricity bill. But if you do have to pay for water, like you mentioned, it's going to be $17 to $20 at the most every single month.
Right. And another thing, we covered this kind of as far as like the deposits. But one thing, in Panama, the U.S. goes by credit.
Yes. So here in Panama, as expats, you guys, in the majority of cases, the people who are just starting to settle here in Panama, so you guys really don't have credit. So it's not, something that you would need to verify. Depending on the complexity, again, of some homeowners, they might ask you or be educated and might ask you for your credit from the States, or might ask you for a bank reference letter or something like that.
Right.
But it's not the same as of, in the US, everything you do or say is run by credit.
Right.
So here it's totally different.
So it's really, because like I just really had to have a proof of income.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so For most cases, it's going to be your visa documents, and few cases they're going to want to have proof of residency. Some may not. It really depends. And then just one a document that shows that you have a monthly source of income, and two possibly the deposit slips or just a transaction where that is sent.
Right.
So that would definitely suffice.
All right. So would you advise expats to have a bank account? To open a bank account?
Yeah, I'll just say that it helps to make your life easier and helps to bring those transaction fees down a little bit.
Right.
And here,
then also with pardon me,
sorry, that's all
but
right.
also with the way the politics, the politicking going on.
Yeah.
And as far as our administration now, all the different changes. I mean, me personally, I would advise you to get a bank account. And normally, when you have an immigration attorney, they'll assist you with that. Or they also have in Panama what they call fixers.
Exactly.
They'll go and speak on your behalf and actually translate. What I liked about my immigration attorney and like about you, you knew we had to be here and you took me to the bank because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so that was my first interaction with banking abroad, and then so I learned from there. And then I'm progressing.
Yes.
Because I went to the bank, and so my first month I went and deposited into her account. I didn't like that. I want you to see a transaction in the history.
Gotcha.
I keep all my receipts. I keep every piece of paper I get as far as, like anything with my lease or any transaction I make.
Really?
But I'm progressing because I was able to go to the bank, and now what I do is when I got my local bank, I just go in and I set up a transfer for every month. And it's kind of different from in the States because I'm able to go in and as I add bills, I just add those and they connect to my account, and bam, you have the money. No transfer fees.
Right. Oh yeah, like for example, you can pay your water bill, you can pay your internet, I really don't go like to lines, I don't go to the light bill company, none of that stuff. All that you just transfer it whenever you want to.
And one thing I can say is very convenient here because you go to certain malls and they'll have all the banks lined there. I forgot what Tracy called, but she told me what it's called. But they'll have like all the banks lined, all the 4 main banks lined up, like Banismo, Banco de General, all the banks and BAC. And so we've learned like what ATMs. Like BAC is $700 limit. Wow. So you go to one, and then you can make a second transaction. You just increase your daily limit on your local bank, and then what you go and do is like I'm with Banismo. I go and take that money and just deposit into my Banismo account, and then that way you don't have transfer. You have very minimal ATM fees. That's it, instead of a transfer fee. Because also you have to learn with international banking, they don't have the FDIC, so your money can get held up, and if you write yourself a check, it take up to 21 days. So we all learning. Yeah, it's all a learning process, and then that's what I like about having an expat community. They're able to tell you, what they learn, and also they've already been through the process, so they can actually tell you, like this month I went with Tracy, and she showed me, okay, your bank is here, that bank right there. You do that, and then that way you will eliminate all those fees. All right. So right. Cool. It just makes your transition and your daily living a little bit more smooth as far as your living arrangements, and and you're in a whole nother country, you can count all your coins to the right.
You got you.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. You got to. That's good.
Right. So now as far as my apartment, let's see, like my apartment, like what would you consider when you're moving into an area? What do they need to look for? Because Panama City
is different.
And Buquete and okay, first of all, what areas are expats really moving in, and what do they need to look for when they move? Because it's a lot of stuff I didn't know to ask. Because it's real humid here. I didn't know to look for certain things.
Okay,
right.
Got you. So, for example, I specialize in Panama City and in the beach areas, the close by. That would be Coronado, that would be Nueva Gorgona, that would be San Carlos, all of those areas.
Okay.
The good thing is that as a licensed realtor, I may not be able to be in, for example, like Boquete or in Chiriquí, but I can connect somebody with a licensed realtor that can be able to assist them in English over there and can be able to work out. I'd rather that because I'm not a specialist in Chiriquí. I'm a specialist in Panama, and I love to provide a great service. Okay. So my battery died. It's good that we're recording on yours. So another thing is that the top places that I'm seeing a lot of expats look at is San Francisco. It would be also El Cangrejo and Bella Vista. And then you have little areas in between like El Carmen, like Carrasquilla, like El Barrio, that are really in between those locations. There's gonna be, some key places that are, it's really gonna depend on your personal preference. Like for example, I have a client that for medical reasons needs to be close to have hospitals close by. Then you'll pick Punta Pacifica, that is located in San Francisco, where the Panama Clinic is, that accepts via veteran insurance. And you have other hospitals. And some will be like, well, I need to be close to the park, or I need a water view. And then you're gonna, definitely look for Avenida Balboa. All these places in the city, they're very safe. They have heavy police activity. They, walkable neighborhoods, and they're only minutes away from everything. Panama City is 16 kilometers wide, so you can be, in different places in a matter of time, unless you run into traffic. So.
And with that being said, so you really don't need a car if you move here. I chose not to drive here because it's really.
And how has that experience been for you? As far as being affordable, you feeling good getting around without a car?
I can walk out my front door, and the grocery store is a half a mile away. The fruit stand I go to every week is not even a mile away, so it's like a quarter of a mile from that. So, and then there's like a Price Mart where you go and get bulk items. If I want to go to the Albrook Mall, which has over 700 stores, I can jump on the train and catch it directly to, which is across, with the train station is across the street, and also the bus stop is right at the entrance of my building. So it's very accessible. You can catch a taxi if you want to. I like to catch Uber because it's recorded. There's a transaction that you took that trip. If you stop in traffic, they're gonna ask you, hey, you okay? Things like that. So that's why, and Uber are very affordable. The train is 25 cents. You can go hours out, and the bus would be like $3 and something. So yeah.
And also another thing, well, you left something out that I think is very important. As Panamanians, we drive crazy. We drive.
That's why I said I don't think I want to drive here. And
another thing is that when you, aside from the car that you would have to purchase yourself, you have insurance that you have to pay for.
But I have checked. But I have checked into it. The insurance is a very small fee here. So if you do actually want to ship your car, or Now, one thing about shipping your car here, the parts and stuff are gonna be maybe hard to find. But if you purchase a car here, the insurance is very affordable. Gas is very, very, very affordable here compared to our gas in the States, and yeah, that's a big part of it.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, is there anything that you feel like that I didn't ask, or Americans don't ask what they should? Because we don't know. We coming. This is all new, and we do a lot of research. But what's something you wish expats would ask?
So one thing that I think that is important whenever you're coming to a new country, aside from doing your research, which is great, I do recommend for clients to either connect with somebody as far as do a property tour, a relocation tour, because that also helps to identify the neighborhood which they want to be in.
Right.
I think that I take that heavily into consideration, because you can find what is the perfect apartment for you, but the neighborhood does not feel right for you.
Right. Like when I was looking and I saw the apartment look great online, but when I got there, I was like, we were like, and then you looked at my face, you was like, yeah, I'm gonna get you out of here. Right.
This ain't the one. Yeah, because for example, I have clients that be like, look, I don't cook. I need to be where a restaurant is, where I could just go down my building and walk a block and I'm in the next restaurant. I don't cook.
Right.
All right. Then I know I'm not going to put that person in the area that, restaurants is far. It's far away.
Right.
So I think that's important. And I do have an associate that his name is Alonzo Brumfield. He has Panama relocation tours where he offers that service, and different from most, it's a very personalized service, and he does include, like, for example, a medical tour, a consultation with doctors here. You can be able to look at your type of insurance to see if it's accepted. I think we're even working on accepting Blue Cross, if I'm not mistaken here.
Right, because I know a lot of people that have Blue Cross.
Definitely, and also with an immigration lawyer, so you can get the paperwork rolling on that. If I think it's very helpful to look into that. It's like I always say, Panama is a great place. I love it, the place that I was born. But I'm going to say it's not perfect. Why it's not perfect? Because it's not for everybody. It could be that it's not for you personally. So investing that time and money to actually come here and look it and check it out for yourself is very important before you just go ahead and make the move. I think in your case, it helped out that you were here
that
before.
I lived here before, and I knew the ambiance. I knew it just the way it's how laid back it is and how the people are. And then I like to call it a brown country because you don't know who's Panamanian until my country accent come out. They don't know. They just start speaking Spanish.
Yeah. So we blend in pretty good.
Everyone blends in well. You're not gonna stick out like, oh, they're a tourist. No, they have no idea who's a tourist and who's not. And then one thing I wanted to also say that Panama offers so much. People think it's a third world country. It's not. Like I said, the mall. That's just one of the malls of so many. That mall has over 700 stores. I was shocked at all the fondas. So you can have a meal from $3 to $7 at a fonda, or you can and it's real good food, large portions, very affordable. Or you can go the chain route and go to and there's Panamanian restaurants. They're affordable also, but there's also American chain restaurants. Who wants to move to Panama and live like an American? That's just me, So, but they do have that to offer if you want it. Also, I was shocked to see all the barbershops.
Yeah.
They have people. I've been referred to like 5 different people to do my locks. There's a lot of veteran businesses here that are veteran owned. So there's a American or expat presence here, but it's not overwhelming. So you can come here and live in the culture and get a great experience. And like he said, you need, because like this apartment may be great for me, but it may not be great for someone else.
Exactly.
It's all in what you're looking for. And like you said, do your research, do a wish list. Tell them particularly everything you want, you know, and then when you come and look at it, make sure you ask all the questions you can think of, like the noise, what's near to you, what's gonna be a deal breaker for you. No, I don't think I can deal with that, you know. Like I said, I didn't come with a car, so I'm close to everything. I can just walk out my door and have multiple means of transportation.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to say is that I do recommend, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a realtor, because you have different type of realtors here in Panama. You have a lot of us that do speak English and that are from Panama. But just working with a realtor is going to help you to save time and money. And on top of that, it is of no additional cost from you. So I want to be open and honest, because I do have a few colleagues or other people that are starting to charge and get money hungry. But no, you don't pay us. The homeowner pays the listing agent, or would pay the realtor, you know, would provide a commission. So that's of no additional cost, whether you're leasing, like we're talking about in this series, or even you're buying a property. It's not an additional cost for you. So it's, you know, we're here to provide an excellent service for you guys.
Right, and that's what made me go with like my immigration attorney. They're referred a lot, and then also I got several refers for you. And the language barrier. I don't want to guess at what I'm signing or guess at what I'm getting myself into. You know, you don't want to guess especially, I mean, you don't guess when you go to another state. So you definitely don't want to guess when you go to a foreign country. So that's why I say get a realtor, get someone that you trust, and that you're a priority. That's one thing that I liked. I felt like a priority. I felt like there was no stupid questions, you know. So
yeah, if there's any question that we might have left out that you feel that is important, you can be able to write them in the comments.
Write
it in the comments, and we'll see if we can create another video to address your comments or question, or if it's personal, you can contact us personally. We're more than happy to help.
So how can they contact you?
Well, you can be able to reach me on YouTube, Your Realtor in Panama. That will be N with an N. And also in Instagram. We're on social media, also on WhatsApp. Please email. You gotta let me know if you're sending me an email, because I don't check them too much. We do even our contracts and documents, everything through WhatsApp a little bit more. So you gotta let me know when you send an email. Right.
With that being said, you have to get used to using WhatsApp.
Yep.
Okay, because in most foreign countries, you're gonna find that even businesses, they only use WhatsApp. So get used to using WhatsApp. I'm gonna drop his information in the description section. I'll drop William and Carol González's information also, and then your friend Alonzo for the tour.
Shout out to Alonzo, Tracy, to everybody, Will and Carol. We appreciate everybody.
And of course, remember to subscribe to Paula in Panama, and of course you'll have all my information too. I want to thank you for being here today and taking time out of your busy schedule. And I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.